We begin with the rocky relationship between Cuba and the United States, a relationship once again being put to the test. This after reports surfaced that the U.S. government secretly created a Cuban version of a social media site similar to the well-known Twitter. The site, dubbed Zunzuneo, was designed in hopes that it could be used to trigger unrest and undermine the Cuban government. For more on the plot and just how far it got, we're joined now by correspondent Jim Spellman. What's this all about?
Mike, the U.S. government says that this was a legitimate project to help the Cuban people, but critics say the program blurred the lines between legitimate U.S. aid and covert political meddling. Here's how it worked. The U.S. Agency for International Development in Washington, which has ties to the State Department, hired tech companies in the U.S., Spain, and Central America to form a company that would operate in Cuba. It called the company Zunzuneo, which is Cuban slang for the sound a hummingbird makes and a play on the name of U.S. social media platform Twitter. Zunzuneo let Cubans send each other free text messages over the state-owned cell phone network and connect with other users in a way similar to Twitter or China's Weibo. The site launched in 2009 and by 2011 had 40,000 users. By 2012, the service was shut down. Neither the Cuban government nor Zunzuneo users were informed it was run by the U.S. government. So at this point, the U.S. government has essentially confirmed that part of the story. But here's where it gets really interesting. According to documents obtained by the Associated Press, the real goal of the program was to take this platform and inject pro-U.S. political content and perhaps even try to create a democratic uprising, a sort of so-called Cuban Spring. Now, by all accounts, the service never got to that point. The U.S. State Department flatly denies that that was the intent and says the whole point was to merely help the Cuban people have a way of communicating with one another. Here's the State Department spokesperson earlier.
The notion that we were somehow trying to foment unrest, that we were trying to advance a specific political agenda or point of view, that nothing could be further from the truth. We believe that the Cuban people need platforms like this to use themselves to decide what their future will look like.
And U.S. authorities say it was never secret in the sense of classified, but rather they tried to keep the program discreet, Mike.
Probably not a secret to how they want the future to look there in Cuba as well. So if they were never able to get the pro-American or the anti-Castro message out, was there ever any benefit for the U.S. government?
Data mining, similar to the way Twitter, Facebook use content generated by their users to learn more about them, and in the case of those sites, market to them. The U.S. put things like online polls and other content on. They could then use how people interacted with those polls, what they sent to one another, to determine who in that group of 40,000 might be sympathetic to U.S. points of view, and they have their phone numbers and potentially a way to text them directly. Has the U.S. government ever used that, or would they in the future? We simply don't know, but like in this modern information age, information is power, the U.S. wanted some of it.
Wow, very interesting story. Jim, thanks so much.